Hello everyone, this is Sqorck, and today I'm going to show you a few simple tricks that you can use to improve the trees in your build. Alright, so the first trees we're going to look at are for interiors, and they're really small. First one is just a simple cauldron with a bucket of water in it, then a fence post on top, and some leaves on top of that. Pretty simple. Next one is just a grass block with a sapling on it and trapdoors around it. Then a little bit bigger than those two is this one, which is just a grass block and trapdoors like that one, and two fences on top, and then lots of leaves on top of that to make a tree shape. Here's a neat trick that you can use for bone meal and saplings so that every time you use it, you get large trees instead of the small ones like this. All you have to do is put 4 blocks stacked on top of each other, and then the sapling right next to it, and then use your bone meal on the sapling. It will give you a larger tree. You can try that a few different times to get different sizes and different shapes with those. Here's a cool trick that you can use to make tall spruce trees. First thing you do is just use a spruce sapling and put bone meal on it. Then you go to the top of it and break the leaves until you get down to the core of the logs, and put a dirt block there, and put another sapling, and you put bone meal on that to make another tree on top of it. And once you have that, you can break the dirt block, put in a log block, and then fill in with all of your leaves. And when you're filling in, you want to make sure it just gets bigger and bigger at the bottom so that it actually looks balanced and correct. So once you have made your large tree, you can make it look more like a willow tree if you put leaf blocks underneath the edges going down in straight lines. Basically, you just want to find even and good places to put them. Make a couple of them go all the way down to the ground too. Then another thing you can add to the willow tree is vines. You can put them on the trunk of the tree and on each of the little things that are hanging down. Larger trees are significantly harder to make, and as you can see, I'm not very good at it, but basically what you want to do to start things like this is start with your trunk and just make at least 3x3 trunk, and then once you do that, make the base of that a little bit wider, and a little bit sporadic too, so that not everything is even. And then you'll want to draw out kind of some roots. Depending on your style of tree, roots can look really nice. Then once you have all your roots laid out, you just extend them upwards closer to the tree so that it looks like it merges into the tree at higher points when it's closer. Add some shape to the roots by putting logs around the edges and sides of the higher parts of the roots. Then once you do that, you just extend the trunk up higher in kind of a random way and that you want it to have an interesting, unique shape. Then once you do that, you just make branches and put leaves on them. So for putting leaves on your trees, I use VoxelSniper. So I use the brush SB, which is just a scatter ball, and then I use for matte as my modifier, and then I will select the air for my replace material and set my voxel to leaves. Then I can kind of just randomly put in a bunch of leaves around the branches. And you can do all this by hand, it just takes more time. Then to fill this out, I will use the brush blend ball, and you can use gunpowder and your arrow to switch back and forth, and the gunpowder will add a lot of density to a certain area, and then your arrow you can use to smooth out that area. But sometimes I just like to have the tree a bit more rough and scattered, which you can achieve with the scatter ball brush. And a trick that people with WorldEdit can use is if you make a selection around your tree and then use a replace command, so / replace, and then you want to do 17 for the logs, and that should work for selecting any log types in your scene, and then you'll do for the replace material you do 17, and then for the data value you'll either do 12 through 15, so it's like 12 or 13 or 14 or 15 depending on what type of log you're using. So if you're using 12, that would be just oak log, and like I'm using here, it will be 13 for spruce. And then once you replace it to that data value, you'll notice that the ends of the logs are completely capped off and you no longer have the log bit showing, so it just looks like a completely bark covered tree. That's all for this week, but leave your suggestions for future episodes in the comment section below. See you guys next time.